Welcome to the Pinning Combination Podcast, College Edition. I'm KJ Pilcher from the Gazette alongside Wyatt Schultz of the Predicament and former coach, wrestler, and current official, Dick Briggs, recapping last weekend's college wrestling action and just a brief look ahead of what's to come for the wrestlers on the college level. And let's jump right into things. With Cliff Keen, Las Vegas Invitational, really highlighting this weekend's Division I action. Iowa State and UNI both wrestling out in Sin City. Nebraska came away with the team title. UNI was 4th, Iowa State 6th. UNI, ISU both with 6 place winners there. I don't know. I thought it was a fairly good showing for both teams.
You know, if you look at UNI, they wrestled below their seeds. So,
okay.
However, not in every case, but in many cases, I think they had 2 number ones, didn't they? And if I remember right, anyway. And so, I don't know how they're feeling in their camp. That's a tough tournament, and from where we're sitting, I agree that that's a pretty nice showing, but who knows how they feel about it, So Iowa State, I think might be in that same situation a little bit. And then higher hopes, like for Carr, I think they're hoping that guy steps it up. And 3rd place isn't bad at a pretty tough weight.
But Ryan Deacon has shown he's a man on the mission so
Who won
far.
That weight class?
Yeah, from Northwestern. Probably not real happy. I think he might have been injury plagued at the end of last season. Probably not happy with his finish, but he had a big win against Carr, and then came away with a win over Hayden Hidley from North Carolina State, who was ranked number 1 coming into the weekend. So
tough bracket for sure. Most of them were.
And also Jared Dagan, he wrestled in the quarterfinals and then medically forfeited out. So that was another
some points
there's some more points in there.
Right, and if you look at it, the key teams out there, Nebraska won it. Ohio State was 2nd. Arizona State was 3rd with 103 points. Then UNI 4th with 94. This is a group of teams that come March are probably going to be battling it out for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th place with Okie State and stuff like this. So at the very least, a good measuring stick for what you need to improve on and stuff to make that big jump through the rest of the season.
I think Nebraska had 10 medalists. Am I wrong there? I know they had 10 going for quite some time, but they won it with the 118. So my point is that if they did it with 118 with 10, that might indicate to me that they may not be that tournament team when it gets to nationals, where everyone's there, and if they've got 10 guys that are not necessarily winning it,
9 they placed
9. So they may be a team that obviously they did well at this big tournament, but put all the teams together, they may not be in that top 5. Yeah. Whereas, like a team like UNI or Iowa State, where they have their individuals that can go up and place high,
score
might jump them on that. We'll see.
Yeah, to go along with your point, a lot of those 9 place winners were in the 5th through 8th range.
Right, exactly.
Which, like you said, come nationals, aren't going to be the same
5th through 8th.
What did Red finish? He might be their highest place winner.
3rd. He finished 3rd for. He finished 5th. It was Ridge Lovett from Nebraska at 133 that finished 3rd.
Higher? Okay.
Isaiah White at 165 beat Josh Shields of Arizona State in the finals to win it there. So that's a good win for him. But like you're saying, some others more in that 5th through that lower half. But for UNI, their top finisher, Bryce Steyert, getting to the finals, dropped a 3-1 sudden victory decision to Dylan Leidy of Purdue. And that's another thing. Purdue finished 5th out of the field there. Tony Ursuline is having nice start for the Boilermakers. For him, former Humboldt native and an Iowa wrestler. But Steyer led the way with a runner-up finish, and then Taylor Lujan. And Steyer had a nice win against Mikey Labriola in the semifinals. That really kind of stands out for Steyer. Excuse me. And then
he also beat Valencia.
Anthony yep.
Right.
Yep.
And that was a I got in there last night and watched that, and he does a nice job. Couple good scrambles, because Valencia's are scramblers,
Right.
and get in some weird positions, and Steyer was able to counter those and get a couple takedowns and some back points out of that.
Yeah, he's certainly no problem with the move up to 174.
No, not at all.
So he's doing well. And then Taylor Lujan, had a nice another win over Taylor Venz, which is a quality win. He majored him in the duel earlier, and then followed up with a decision here. But he finished fourth. Is that one of those that you kind of maybe expected a little bit better of a finish there?
Right. I believe he was seated second, wasn't he?
I'm not even
Valencia?
sure what he was seated, but I know his was it that semifinal where he lost to
To Hidley?
Hidley.
Yeah.
Because Hidley he took him down a couple times, and it wasn't a scramble situation. I mean, he got in on a couple nice
Right.
doubles. And
Hidley impressed me last year at the NCAA tournament. I thought he was a tough kid. So that's another deep class. So
Yeah.
again, you wrestle it next week, it could be well, other than maybe the
Zahid.
Zahid.
The
next
my
week could be
favorite.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zahid came away with a 12-4 win over Trent Hidley, which is impressive. Carter Isley getting fifth. I think that's a positive for the Panthers there.
Right.
He's somebody that thought could have Blaise Cabell type success. Is maybe a little quicker 230,
I agree.
240
And
pound
throw
heavyweight.
Gremmel in that too. I
Yeah.
thought he finished fourth, and I thought both those guys.
And actually,
That's
Gremmel
nice.
got beat twice with the same guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Is that
Orndorff.
Orndorff?
Orndorff. Yep. Out of Utah. Is it Utah?
Valley.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Who beat Orndorff earlier in the? Somebody upset Orndorff earlier, but I can't remember who it was. It was a little bit of a shocker in that bracket, but Max Thompson also got fifth for UNI. Michael Blockus, his performance. He lost to Chad Redd twice, I believe.
I think you're right there too.
Majors both times, but he at one point had won like 5 straight matches on the backside after that early loss
Which
to
is
Chad
not
Redd.
easy to do, man.
Right.
That's tough. So, very impressive. I mean,
And he finished sixth, losing to Chad Redd there for the placing match again. And then Jay Shoreham, seventh. I think he had another situation where was he behind in a match and then got a fall early in one of the first rounds or
I think
something?
you're right. The first round.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Maybe I'm not sure on that,
Yeah.
but he did win the most falls in the shortest amount of time.
The Gregorian?
Yep.
Or with it, yeah. One of those things.
Gregorian's what I say.
I say we name it the Doobie Brothers Award.
I was actually waiting for something like that to come in when we first started.
Oh,
we had a
we'll leave it in.
We had a Doobies last week. What we were going to do this week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll leave stuff in each.
Well, they're
each
on the
time.
ballot for this year's Hall of Fame. Come on, Doobie Brothers, let's go.
So that just goes. We pointed out last week that he was somebody that could add points in settings like this because he's so dangerous to be able to get falls. So we saw it play out there, and he placed. And switching to ISU, David Carr, the highest finisher, getting third. Todd Small at 133 with a nice tournament, getting fourth. Same with Ian Parker at 141, and then Gannon Gremmel getting fourth at heavyweight. Who stands out to you there for the Cyclones?
I thought Gremmel had a good tournament. I think it was quarterfinals maybe where he got beat by Orndorff, and then the place match where he got beat by him again. I thought he was the one that's. Of course, you always got David Carr, but Gremmel was the one that surprised me. I guess most of all.
But
And
some
I
of those-
guess I'd be kind of curious to see what happened to Dagan too. You know,
Yeah,
that
with
would
his
be
injury, yeah.
yeah.
See if it was. Hopefully, it's just precautionary,
Right.
as far as
You know,
That goes
at
for
this
them.
time of the season, you're going to do that. I mean, you're going to make sure. But overall, again, there's nice finishes. You know, third, fourth, and fifth, right in there. So, good, solid team showing by the Cyclones.
Yeah, and Mackel getting fifth, I think, is good. Again, Todd Small finishing in the top half of the podium.
I think Mackel is below his seed, but still, again,
Okay.
they're so. If I remember it, I thought he might have been second or third seed. So,
Yeah, it'll be interesting with David Carr, that loss to Deacon and how that kind of pushes him and kind of fuels him going forward. I think, not that losses are good, but I think he'll be unfazed and just work even
Right.
harder. Stuff. Good opportunity to wrestle him now.
well, it's a good barometer to know
Yeah.
where you're at,
Yep.
especially early on in your career. Wrestling, is Deacon ranked number one right now?
I believe he was 2 behind Hidley. I haven't seen the new rankings come out, but I would assume that he's
If Hidley's
Number
number
one
one
going
was number
forward.
one, that certainly flip flopped those guys based on the finals.
right.
So
Both teams we're kind of getting in a little bit of the season where you've got finals coming up. You've got the holiday break coming up as well. UNI will have the UNI Open this Saturday in Cedar Falls. Iowa State will also host UTC on Saturday starting at 7 p.m. That'll be their last competition before the holiday break. UNI will go to Midlands between Christmas and New Year, while Iowa State will wrestle in the Southern Scuffle, and we'll talk about those at a future time. One of the other D1 events that came up this weekend, Sunday, Iowa went out to Princeton, won 7 out of 10 matches. Iowa came away with a 30-9 victory there. Guys that should have won kind of did. Jacob Warner maybe with kind of the biggest win, I guess, on Iowa's side of the fence. Scored a takedown in the last seconds to beat second-ranked Patrick Brookie 5-4. So a good win for Jacob Warner there.
this, number 2 ranked versus number 3 ranked, kind of flip flop that one at the buzzer. 3 seconds left. I happened to be listening to that on the radio driving home from officiating, and it sounded pretty exciting.
Yeah,
So-
and also I happened to see a clip of that, his last takedown, and he went in there and took him down. It wasn't really almost a real even scramble situation. I mean, he just took him down, and it was a clear-cut takedown with 2 or 3 seconds.
I got a kick out of Warner's comment after the match that when he got in on the leg, he goes, "I was like a dog on a bone. I wasn't going to let that go. And it was just a matter of finishing in time." And
Junkyard dog.
I think
like
that's
that.
a good. Warner was somebody that I think had drawn a little bit of criticism here lately about wrestling to his competition a little bit. I know this probably doesn't diffuse that at all because it was a highly ranked wrestler and coming away with a big win, but I think it just kind of shows, when it comes down to it and when he needs to win, he can come through. He's got that ability to come out. Now it's just maybe spacing or pulling away from guys that probably shouldn't be within a takedown or something like that.
And this is a general statement, but here it might have been amplified. I wasn't watching. I was kind of listening to it, or I was listening to it, but it did seem like Brucky shut down again, and I see that so many times
Really?
in college where guys get a 1-point lead and then try and shut down and at the end, and instead of, I guess my philosophy as a coach was, you didn't get ahead by not wrestling. So continue pouring it on, if and I'm guessing if Mark Ironside, my former wrestler who commentates for the Hawkeyes, was sitting here, he'd be going, get the pressure on, keep pushing him. You know how Ironside likes to do that.
Right.
And I think that the coaches at Iowa are probably the same way. They want to continue to push that. So, so that's an example of, maybe they can use that as an example of why you don't shut down like that. Going on, Princeton is ranked 11th. I mean, again, it's a clear-cut dual victory, even with not the full Iowa lineup. I mean, obviously at 25, we're missing Spencer Lee,
yep.
but they did flip-flop one at 57. Ninth-ranked Quincy Mundy from Princeton did beat Caleb Young, fourth-ranked, so that one flipped a little bit, and so
Young's had a couple tough losses here in the little over the
Last
first
couple
month
weeks,
with
yeah.
Carr and Monday there as well, but still something that can get turned around.
Right. I was interested in, because I kind of figured Cashman would be wrestling out there, been weighing in and everything. So I was kind of curious to see how he would do, because I think he win the Luther Open. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of curious to see how he would fare out there. And then I get lost 10-4, but and I haven't seen any of the match, but that was the one that I was kind of interested in.
Yeah, and then at 84, we still don't know. I think that's still up for grabs.
Yeah.
I
do
don't think either. I thought maybe Nelson might have been the front runner until yesterday. Now it might be back to. I don't know what coaches are thinking, but it might be back to even based on results. I know they're both wrestling for their
Spot.
It would seem like from sitting in this chair.
Their next competition is until the Midlands, so that
Well, they'll both be in it and see how that.
yeah.
I would assume that will
be the gauge.
be a lot.
I would
That'll
think so. Good point.
determine a lot there. And one of the things too, you mentioned Princeton, being ranked 11th, 12th. Iowa was still able to pull up a lot of bonus points. They got technical falls from DeSanto and Kemmerer at 33 and 74. Marinelli, I think, was up. I think his takedown, he took Connor Melbourne down to his back to make it 23-8. So he was working towards the tack, put him on his back, and then finished it off with a fall in 620.
Super tack.
Yeah, right. And that's what you like. I mean, that's what you really like to see. And then Max Murin with his first major decision at 141, and Cassiope finished it off with a major decision as well. Marinelli's pin was his 16th of his career, and with Kemmerer, this is a big layoff. Him being at 74 after wrestling 57, his first 2 years. His first 4 matches have gone major pin and 2 technical falls in those first 4 matches. So he's...
From what I've seen, he looks good at 74.
Okay, I've got to throw this out there too, in this age of social media. And this is going back to the 80s. We brought up Doobie Brothers. Do you guys remember New Edition?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
right.
know
Bobby
the name.
Brown. Well, there was they were a group in the 80s that, and they had like some choreography with their songs, and we just saw the Seattle Seahawks kind of revive it in one of their end zone dances. So on TikTok last night, the TikTok app that made its way to a Twitter post, it starts out with Kemmerer in the center, Nelson Brands on one side, Max Murin in the other, doing the choreography to the New Edition song. And then when they jump up and come back down, they're in their briefs. And instead of Kemmerer, it's Cassiope there instead, finishing out the...
Jump from a
the
medium body to a big body.
Yes. Boy, that was hilarious, and just got me thinking about how a lot of people thought these Iowa robots, before, and God, this group now has a lot of fun like that and stuff. And I don't know if you see it, if you're ready to see a heavyweight with his shirt off, go ahead and take a look.
See, when you're talking
I thought it was
80s,
funny.
80s and TikTok with me, you're talking about like the time bomb sandwich or something.
Down on the northeast side of
That's right.
town.
Your
Yep.
neighborhood, right?
Oh yeah.
But talking about them guys having a lot of fun together, I noticed that out at Media Day out at Kroll Farms. I thought them guys really hung around together and had a blast together even then.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that is a group of fun-loving guys.
And they've got moves. Hey, they
Yeah.
they can dance a little bit. So, and as you mentioned, Iowa is off until the Midlands. So let's jump in. There's some other action this week as well with the D3
D3s.
teams. There's a BV Open that had more than just.
Yeah,
They had wrestlers from all over.
the BB Open. I'm telling you, that was really tough. Like you and I had teams that sent quite a number of wrestlers there. South Dakota State, Minnesota, Iowa had guys there. St. Cloud State, who's Division II, and they are good. I'm telling you, man, they did very well. They had sent a ton of people there, and this is how good it was. And I should also say that Warburg did not send a number of their wrestlers. At least 4 were not there. But the highest placing D3 wrestler was at 197, and it was Colby Woods from Warburg took 3rd.
Wow.
And everyone else that placed above that at every weight was either D1, unattached D1, or St. Cloud State, who is a very good D2 team. They're ranked number 1, and they should be. So anyway,
A lot of Iowa presence there as well. Just kind of looking as far as guys from out of state. You had Kyle Biscaglia win at 125. Dan Kimball of South Dakota State, I believe, is a Don Bosco prep.
Yeah, freshman. Is he freshman or redshirt freshman? Either, but he's
I think he's true.
true
He is a
freshman,
freshman.
so he won
yeah.
that.
Kay DeVos of South Dakota State won at 157
From Southeast Polk.
from Southeast Polk. And then you guys might have to help me with Zach Johnston of Minnesota
I can help
State.
you very well. Kyle's wrestled him twice, including in this tournament last year in the finals.
Okay.
So he's an
ADM?
ADM
Okay.
kid, and
Awesome.
Kyle wrestled him at the Luther Open.
This year.
Yes, this year.
So he came away with a victory there as well. Tyrell Gordon. That's one person I just wonder. I know they said Holschlag's coming back, but if something happens and Holschlag doesn't come back for you and I, why they wouldn't pull the red shirt since he did that for him last year?
Is he redshirting this year?
Yes.
Because he's listed as a Northern Iowa. I didn't see him
Is
as
he?
unattached.
Okay.
I don't know if you have to do that
All
or
right.
what the rules are. So
Well,
I don't know.
And as wrestling, Nathan, you might be able to help us out. Kind of the rule on redshirting. I know basketball, you get a certain amount of dates before you have to declare. Football was the same way. Does that include for like Olympic level sports as well?
Probably.
Would you have a few opportunities to wrestle?
Yeah, I think it's usually like 30% or something.
Okay. All right. So we'll have to keep an eye
And
on that.
I'm guessing it has to be before Christmas or a certain date anyway.
Probably.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Others.
And Boone McDermott at heavyweight.
For Iowa Central?
Was a
Was a
Waller,
champ.
wasn't it?
Was a
Waller.
champ.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good guy. Yeah. So a lot of depth, and you can go further on. That it's a little closer to home. Shay Hartzler was wrestling from Linmar, and off the top of my head, so a few others local area guys. But anyway, moving on to D3 duels. Loris and Co go up to La Crosse and wrestle. They each wrestle Wisconsin Whitewater and La Crosse. And Loris, who's ranked number 2, and Co, who's ranked number 9, and then La Crosse is ranked 8th, and Whitewater is ranked 13th. So all 4, top 15 ranked teams. And Loris walked away with a 33-18 win over Whitewater and a 37-9 win over La Crosse. And then Co beat Whitewater 35-18, and then upset their team ranked just above them at 25-15. I don't know if it's an upset, but beat them. So had pretty nice duels going there. And then Cornell wrestled. There's 3 teams wrestling: Cornell, Luther, and Wisconsin Stevens Points. And Cornell beat Wisconsin Stevens Point 32-15. Luther beat them 25-16, and then Luther beat Cornell 24-9. So had some duels going there. Central was in the MSOE, Milwaukee School of Engineering, I believe.
Yep.
And took second there out of 11 teams. And our local guy from Kennedy, Ben Saracen, was a champ there for the University of Chicago. Upper Iowa at D2 did their Northern Sun Conference swing up there and wrestled Minot State, and who's unranked, and University of Mary. But the unranked Minot State, it came down to a bonus point. The score was 20-19.
Really?
So that was maybe not unexpected. They split the matches 5-5, and then they handled the University of Mary 28-6. So some good wrestling going on. Coming up this week though, in the D3 and D2, on Wednesday, COA will be at BV. That's at 7:00. On Thursday, University of Upper Iowa hosts Southwest Minnesota State at 7:00. On Friday, Cornell hosts Wartburg at 7:00. And then on Saturday, Luther wrestles UD at 1:00, and then Loris hosts Milliken at 2:00. And most of those, if not all of them, you can see on, go to their websites and you can watch it if you're not able to attend.
Doesn't Nebraska Wesleyan wrestle Central? Did you miss that one?
I didn't mention that one, huh?
On Thursday.
So you got that one also? Okay.
Yeah.
So if you that's at Central, so
At Central.
go to Central's website and
Yeah.
if you want to watch that. And that's at 7 p.m.
Yep.
So make sure you catch some of those as well.
Shoot, you can watch wrestling every night. Just about every
Life
night.
is
this
good,
week.
isn't it?
Right.
Right.
Isn't the retirement great?
And then, of course, some of the big kind of trip tournaments and stuff will be coming here during the break. Sunshine Duels. What is the boot? Gator boots.
I'm not. Someone goes to the Gator boot. I'm not sure if
Luther?
anyone goes to. I think Luther goes to the Gator.
Desert Duels.
The Desert Duels.
Desert Duels.
Wartburg is going. Koa's not going this year. And I didn't see anyone going to Sunshine. I might have missed that. So.
Okay.
So but you're right. That is usually one that people attend.
And that used to be fun to go to as well. And then one thing I wanted to mention, there's obviously Wartburg and Loris kind of leading the pack. Cohen Central have good teams. I think Luther is kind of on the upswing as well. I think they're going to have a pretty competitive team and somebody not to kind of look over. I think Dave Mitchell has a
Yep, I agree
strong
with you.
group.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So
Have a solid heavyweight for sure. I believe he
Yeah,
won, their own tournament. So
next week we'll hit some of the JUCO teams as well. We haven't really gotten to that, but we'll hit on that a little bit more, and NAIA as well for next week. So you got the UNI Open, Iowa State, UTC this Saturday, as well as the other D2 and D3 competitions for this week. It'll be another a fun one before finals comes around. Any parting thoughts on the college side before we bid everyone adieu?
a little bit of a break, so with some, and so it'd be kind of with the, like you said, with the testing and kind of the holidays coming in here. There's a little bit of a break, certainly with Iowa. They don't go to the Midlands and so forth. So,
And I guess something pretty close to here is that Wartburg Cornell duel on Friday. So
I'll be there.
yeah,
Make sure you get out and support those teams. Go find a duel. Take a friend, your son or daughter out to that. I was pretty fortunate. My daughter joined me at the Independence duel, and that was or the Independence tournament this Saturday. So it's always fun and being able to share the sport of wrestling with others and continue the support of these hardworking athletes that are out there at all levels. So you've got some good ones to go to this week. Make sure you check that out. If you can't be there in person, as Dick mentioned, go online and watch the webcast and keep supporting this great group, this great sport. And we'll close out the college edition with Wyatt's great advice.
As always, let's keep wrestling on the move.